What's up, everybody? We're back again. I think. We should be. I'm going to find the feed over here. Yeah, we're live right now. We're testing things. And we're going to pop that chat out one more time. Pop out chat. Welcome to the chat. And close that. And do this. What up, 4 viewers? 5 viewers? We are back one more time. Almost done printing that thing. I got a sandwich in me. And half a donut. Well, it was a fritter. Not a donut. It was a fritter. And I realized the whole video I didn't use my microphone. I was actually using the speaker or the microphone on my Mac over here. So hopefully it sounds better now. Because I was wondering why you couldn't hear me when I walked out of the room, but straighten all this stuff. I'm still cleaning my desk off here. Let's do a little bit of cleaning since I won't need any of these tools. What up, Robert? Perfect. Sound is good. We're back. We've got a couple more minutes before the proper filament extruder cover is done. I did do one thing on this printer while we were gone, and that was to set the calibration XYZ. And now we're going to do some printing and stuff. So let me move this over here. And where did I put that reverse Bowden attachment doohickey? Set it down somewhere in this area. Unless I threw it across the room, which is very possible. I've been known to not do that. Oh, where has my reverse Bowden gone? You gotta get serenaded. And we're back. Ah, there it is. So I dropped tools. Really should have spent more time cleaning the desk off. But we don't need to do that. That's not it. So definitely the right tubing. Correct tubing is found. Incorrect everything else has not been found. I'll find it. I still got time. I'm going to look through these drawers and make sure I didn't throw it into a drawer. Been known to do that. I'm super good at throwing things into drawers and not knowing which drawer I put them into. I popped off the reverse Bowden, and then I set it somewhere for me to find. Let's see. Well, it's not that drawer. It's not that drawer. It's not this box. It's definitely not in there. If not, I can cut a new one. I've got PTFE tube. There is no shortage of PTFE tube in my drawer of PTFE tubes. There we go. That'll work. Put my PTFE tubes back in. Under? Nope. Doesn't look like it's under the printer. Maybe it's in my shoe, but we'll cut a new one. We'll make it fresh. So where's my reaming tool? I most likely lost the reaming tool. I actually do know where the reaming tool was. It was at the end of the desk, and it slid off, and I think it fell into my side of desk tool garbage can toolbox. Yep, I keep toolboxes on the side of everything. Nope. Let me go check the waste receptacle. Oh, and I found my reverse board, and it's over there. It fell off the desk, too. That's the cap to the reamer. Yep, and that print's done. Voila. It's so pretty. Who ordered a... Thomas, I wish I could order a rail core right now. Soon. Soon, I'll order a rail core. Because that'll also be fun to build, even though that build process is supposedly pretty complicated, but awesome. All right. I need the Reamer tool. Ah, look at that, Reamer tool. Okay, that end is flush. Printer's still good going over there. Ream that out. Okay. Yeah. Just about that will work. Make sure this is flush. Yeah, I've been going back and forth too. I decided to just get a super cheap Delta printer for now to keep me occupied. So I picked up that Anycubic Castle Linear Plus 2, $225 US, 300Z, 230 diameter. But it has linear rails. I mean, I'm gonna get my linear rail fix without having to buy a rail core. I will find you. I'll just set it down over here. Okay, this should be cool enough. Yep, cool enough. So the reverse Bowden, all it does, its entire purpose in life, is to make a nice constant feed length to the extruder. So you don't have, one, you keep it off the frame, and two, it's a constant length, so that way you don't have it pulling, because there's an opposite, like they say, there's an opposite action for every whatever nonsense. So as the extruder is pulling, if your spool is up here, it's pulling on the top of this frame. And it's not a lot, but if you actually watch a Prusa frame, it actually does move in and out. So this just stops all that. It keeps a constant pressure, so it should help with layers. Now let's not break this, because if I break this, I have to reprint this thing, which took 30 minutes to print. There we go. We done good. Take off the old one. Oh, I have this glove here. Didn't even use it. And then we get to slice some things. I'm going to slice a cube, 40 millimeter cube. And we'll use that as our first test print, just to check out the layer lines. I've got a test cube, bunch of test cubes from the previous setup. Give me your tiny Bowden tube thingy. By the way, if anyone wants to announce that we're back live onto Twitterverse or anything, you're more than welcome to. Come back here, tiny PTFE tube now. Oop. All right. Should be the proper length now. We'll find out here. Yep. It works. Thank you, Internet, for that design. So I didn't have to do anything. I just print it. And the only thing I have to do is do a first layer calibration. We can do that together as a team. Hopefully. Still didn't grab fresh paper towels. Okay, and good. You go here. Awesome. Colette's pulled. And good to go. Let's do this. We've got a little bit of silver filament here, which would be great because that always shows off poor layering. Let's turn this towards everybody since I don't need to see it print. I know that it's printing when it's printing. Of course, we're at the very end of the spool, so it's very coily. All right. Preheat and some PLA. Go once. Yes, announce it. Announce it, Mike. And let's go into Slicer and slice some things while that heats up. Fan turner, good. Everything's alive. So I should have this, and I should have a test folder. So documents and 3D printing and test prints. So I've got my Benchy, my cute octopus, Flexi Rexy for that stuff. So let's do the 40 millimeter cube object. Boom. And we're going to do this with the least amount of everything in it. So let's do perimeters 2. Layer height 0.25 is fine by me. Infill does not need to be 30%. Oh, shoot. Let me change this to a PLA profile. And PLA. MK3. And people are messaging me. No messaging. All right. Load filament. Yep, loading. Platter. Strange. Where is this profile for this printer? Unos momentos, por favor. Hey, but the good news is filament loaded. Good to go. File, load config. There we go. All right, let's go on those print settings and do some magic here. So we need 5% infill. Grid is fine. And speeds, that's good. Filament settings. One change you need to make. There we go. And we will slice this. General. G code. This one has, you'll see a much crazier start pattern. Slice now, export G code, 40 millimeter cube. Let's see, BMG test. Save. I'm not going to print the whole cube. I just want to see how it prints. But we also have to do a first layer calibration. So settings. And nope, not settings. Calibration. First layer calibration. Yes. Okay. And now we're going to transfer this over. So documents, 3D printing to print. There we go. And then I'm going to slice a benchy with the same nonsense. Of course, there's 400 benchy files in the benchy folder. Slice now. Export. And 3D benchy. BMG test. Look at that's being organized. Set that first layer height. I like to zoom right to 0.5. Let that go for one pass. And boom, we now have a memory card with all the files we need on it. Let's check our first layer here. Still too far away. Oh yeah, that was way too far away. This should be much better. Yep, that's way better. Awesome. And of course, since we're printing a test cube first, that'll definitely help us with that first layer. And back to the chat. No one's chatting. All right. Super excited. Hey, what up, Craig? We're getting the old crew back. Oh, 48, and we're jumping in humans. We're just waiting for this first layer calibration to finish. My party plans have already been decided. Board games and video games at the studio with friends. So I have no choice. Live Z was a little close at the end. Come here. So settings and Live Z adjust. And let's go to 0.65. Put the memory card in. I just need to find a corner. Give me one of those corners that didn't stick to the bed. Oh. Textured beds. Textured beds are awesome until you want to print something really thin and you have nothing to grab onto. Oh, they'll be back. They're probably also grabbing sandwiches, but ones that aren't as fast as my sandwich was. All right. We're going to get this layer up one way or another. There we go. Don't do this at home. Just using it to get corners up so I can get what's left of fingernails underneath there. Just trimmed them the other day. Actually, that was this morning. Because, you know, new year, PB&J. No. I have no idea what Zwift Wing is. Well, this was fun. I should just print over these lines. They'll probably come off a lot easier. Should probably also clean the bed. Putting all my greasiness on there. Silly fake knockoff Prusa textured sheet. All right, that's enough. Those won't mess with my print. Okay. Memory card inserted. And print from SD card. 40mm cube test. So yeah, this will have a little bit different startup. So I have the 7x7 grid, 7x7 grid first layer calibration instead of mesh bed leveling versus the 3x3. And the pin to pro will also wait till it gets to at least 30 degrees Celsius before it does the mesh bed leveling. So my mesh bed leveling here will take a little bit longer than yours unless you're also running this community mod firmware. Other than that, there's nothing fancy on here. Oh, I kind of like this one from Bondtech. So strong. I wonder if Martin used ABS to print this. That's nice. All right. And then once this gets to, again, I also have my little different first layer calibration as well. Mine preheats to 160, the bed to 65, and then it will sit, and then it's going to wait till it gets the pinda to 30 Celsius, and then it's going to do a 7x7 mesh bed leveling. A little bit different. And then after that, it'll heat back up to 235 or 235 to 210, 215. And then once it's at temp, it'll print. Carlos, I don't know yet. This is lighter. And this is also, yep, so there it goes. Oh, 7x7 mesh bed leveling. This has all the corrections done to it. So this is all of the best of the community mods done into one. So better cable routing, better hot end cooling, better filament path lineup. So look at that thing, it's still going, still measuring all those points to give you that super accurate bed. And the only reason I have it is so this knockoff Prusa sheet is really uneven. So using stock setup 3x3, I was getting some super bad first layers. I think I posted them on the Facebook group. I mean, it'd be perfect on the edges, and the dead center had like a huge divot in it, and another piece would be perfect on one half, and the other half would be well over. So the bed is definitely, this textured sheet is definitely not perfectly even. And that's a pain. It's really nice if it would be at least somewhat close to even, but it wasn't. So this definitely helps a ton. And if you have issues with bed leveling, this is awesome. This thing works great to really get that nice refined mesh bed level. All right, here we go. Now it's going to heat up to 215 because I do a mesh bed level where it's at 160. That way it doesn't drop any little ooze bits all over the bed. If you don't like to pick up nasty oozy bits off of your bed. Oh, sweet, Greg. Or Georgie Boy Howie. I like that name. George is a good name. Yeah, still pretty quick for 7x7. And there we go, our first print. Yeah, so we did a couple people did some tests, and I confirmed the same test. So because there's magnets under this bed, this entire bed is slightly magnetic, and it acts as a dispersion to it. So there is, I have it coming in. I have a little sheet that tells you where the magnetic fields are. So I'll be able to show where the exact magnetic fields are. But I think that they are pretty well dissipated because of the metal sheet, and the entire metal sheet is slightly magnetic. So if there's an issue with pin to probe locations, it's already there because the bed's already magnetic. So I don't think the worry was as warranted after listening to some much smarter people debate about that, and then my own test where I found out, yeah, the bed is already slightly magnetic. Yeah, definitely an interesting way to see someone in the new year. And I did a Christmas Eve one, so it's like before holidays, Eve holidays, I am there. So Easter Eve, what's the end of Halloween Eve? Maybe I'll do one for that. Actually, Halloween Day, I'd rather do one on Halloween, but I'm a weirdo. I love Halloween. So first layer looks good. So some things we're going to look for, we're definitely going to look for the 602, the inconsistent extrusion that's very specific to the Mark III. We're going to look for general inconsistencies in layers. We're going to look for corners. We're going to look for any ghosting issues, any ringing, etc., and also motor resonance. Because motor resonance, we'll also look at moire. My test cubes, I have them here. Hold on. Here are my silver test cubes. So these test cubes came using the same filament, same silver filament, using the community version of the BMG mod. And there's moire, and there's just some slight inconsistencies. The cubes are awesome. I mean, generally speaking, for a cube, there's that moire. You can see that little like diagonal pattern, and that's from that weird motor thing. But other than that, the cubes, I think I posted some pictures. I'll have them in the Facebook group. There, at least I can compare. So I have the known good sample right here. These are my two samples with the same filament, same setup and everything. So I can compare and contrast and make statements about it. There were a couple issues with the old community mod. So the first community mod, this is the first one. They made an updated one that's better. But the first community one, this latch here doesn't actually latch all the way. So the Bondtech door never can get correctly in position. It actually presses up against the top plate here. And once it presses up against the top plate, you can't actually tension it correctly. So, yeah, since you can't tension it correctly, that was an issue. It also had a weird orientation for the hot end, which didn't really help the cooling issues in there. It had the older cooling that was the Dyson, so the Venturi effect, which did and didn't work correctly. All in all, it was a good attempt, but some of the things that caused inconsistencies in prints were still in this design, and they're still in the new design. So hey, no problem, Keith. And I can't wait to see the final bear. I need to order more thermistors. I already ran out of my new supply of thermistors. Oh, got that one out. So the reason I'm using my test prints here that I can compare had the Moon's motors on this. I did all my testing on this Mark III that has this on it, but with the Moon's motor. So I didn't want to fudge with the final result by using a different motor, and maybe the motor was doing all the fanciness. So I have the same motor and everything. So that's the reasoning why we're using that Moon's 1.8 degree motor versus the BMG included motor. Yep, another bad E3D thermistor, throwing that away. Yep, we're just printing a 40 millimeter cube with my standard profile that I use on everything, using the same filaments and everything like that. So nothing too crazy. So far, it's laying down really nice layers. Hopefully, I have enough filament. That is the end of the spool there, and it's the last of my silver filament. No, I do have another spool of silver filament. I have some 3D Solutech silver. But this is the filament I used for my other test cubes and my other test prints. Oh, that tiny 5% infill. Yes, this is the V 3.5A. So this is the one that I posted on the forums that uses that 7x7 firmware. So this is using the 7x7 firmware, the 7x7 mesh bed leveling firmware. So it has that different start G code. Everything else is the same. And then I do have this G code. It's just on my Repetier server, which is plugged into that Bear printer right now. So I can't really snag the files off of that to test print on here. But once I'm done with this test print and I print that test benchy, I will hook it back up where it's supposed to be at and rerun the exact same G code. So the 7.7 thing is, instead of doing the 3x3 bed leveling, so Prusa's mesh bed leveling does a 3x3 grid. This is a 7x7 grid, giving you much better, much better map of what the bed shape is like. So this print surface that I bought, this is the Amazon knockoff textured sheet. It actually is really good for PLA. I still have issues with it with PETG. But as a textured print surface, it's really nice. Like, it works really well. But with it has dips in it just in the surface itself. And those dips in the surface itself are not good. You can't fix it with a 3x3 grid. So the 7x7 grid allows you to get those additional test points, get a better visualization of the bed, and then when it fixes all those issues in the bed and it corrects for all those issues in the bed, you end up with a far superior print in the long run. I hope this is a nearly perfect print. It's looking really good, but I'm only 2.6 millimeters in to this print, so I can't really tell too much yet. Yeah, so if you go on Amazon and just search textured PEI, you'll get it, and he's actually a member on our Facebook group. His name's Danny Auclair. He's from Canada. He makes these knockoff textured beds. And V1 and V2, yeah, the V1 and V2 were just horrible. The V1 was not flat whatsoever. It was super, cattywampus and odd layerings, and it was just odd. It also wasn't PEI. It was some weird stuff, and it was bad. Bruce even got a sample of it, and it was just bad. So the V3 though is an exact clone. I mean, it's a darker finish, but if you hold it up to the Prusa PEI, it's identical. I mean, the texture's the same. So it's good stuff. The V2 still has an issue of, like, when it's hot, like when the actual print bed is warm, it can peel off, which sucks. Yeah, it's not bad. I don't know if I still recommend it or not for buying, but it works. It's not horrible. It's definitely not very level. So I have ones that are level, so it's not like every single one's bad. I have another one on. It's on this. It's on the Blue Mark III over there. That one also has that same knockoff print surface, and What screw am I? Oh, there it is. There's another screw in here. No, that's not a screw. Why can't I take you off? Okay. Lift and pull. That one's much flatter than this one. This one is just horrible. Yeah, so this is the Zerabo X-axis. I have different versions of printers. So the blue one is uses the bare X-axis and the bare extruder. This is a full bare. The far one over that's orange, that's completely stock. This one is the same as blue, but uses the Zerabo X-axis. So lots of different little iterations going on up in here. And that cube looks pretty darn good. And mind you, this isn't super high-end filament. This is just Printed Solid makes your daily filament, like a just an inexpensive daily filament that works with everything. It's not special. They're working on getting better. There's a word for it. They're working on getting better tolerances on the filament. This roll in particular is pretty not the best in tolerances. It just prints nice though. I printed a bunch of it and it still prints good. So the best place to get the profiles would definitely be on the Prusa Community Facebook page. And I think there's a link to the Prusa Community Facebook in my YouTube profile. So take a look at that and see if that gets you there. If not, someone in here will get you a link. I guarantee someone in here has a link to that for the profiles that I have. Yeah, that's a proper screw. Lock this Bondtech back down so the bits don't fall out of it. There we go. The V3 is listed as unavailable? Are you in the USA? Because maybe it's just a USA. I know he's Canadian, so I know it's sold. Might just be US Canada if that's an issue. Maybe he ran out. Yeah, so James, Chris Tilley, another member, he got the V2, and his, when the bed is warm and you just touch it with your fingernail, the material comes off. So he wasn't super stoked. Huh? Maybe it's just not available in Canada. He also sells them on eBay, so check eBay for the Prusa textured PEI sheet. Ah, there's multiple on the. Oh, these screws are just slightly too long. All right, so I can get rid of this. I'm gonna, of course, harvest all the extra bits. Maybe someone ordered the last one. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, I heard a lot of mixed reviews on V1 and V2. I personally had the V1 and it was not a happy experience. And I think he even might still sell the V1 on eBay. So, options. But I do love the Prusa PI sheet. That thing is pretty magical. So I have stripped that of all its bits, and I have a box here for old PETG prints. This cube is actually looking really good. The layers are going down very nice. I don't think I'll need to do too much adjusting. Because as always, there's always probably a little bit of adjusting. More PETG prints to throw in the bucket. Of course, always harvest your square nuts. Because those things are worth like $1 a piece. You get just a 50% refund for something that didn't work. I had an issue with mine, and he sent me a brand new one as a replacement for it. Okay. PTG box. More junk. More junk. I'll see if I can get this stupid thing off. Should be the correct. Yeah, super gunked. We're gonna have to get. I think I'm gonna have to get the. Yeah, we're gonna have to get the fixer upper. I have a tool for this. Huh. That's odd. Silly things on clones of things. All right. I have a tool for what I'm gonna do. We're gonna use power tools on live. Oh, there we go. So I stripped that stupid set screw. It's just a Moon's 1.8 pancake. So print looks awesome. Nice layers. Oh. Don't post those negative reviews, guys. Nope, wrong way. Yes, this is using the A3 profile. Correct. Yes, they are pass-through. Next size. Don't stab yourself, Chris. You can tell I'm really good about safety. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Okay, now we're safety. Nope, not deep enough. Yeah, the V2 I heard wasn't that great either. Call OSHA. I'll get this thing out of there. Nope. It just won't grab. It wants to. It's so close to grabbing. Screw is stronger than me. Yeah, I could be your dentist, and I'd still be wearing this goggles, and I'd still have the microphone. I feel this is a futile I did try to heat it up, and it just stripped the head of the screw off. And I'm not a fan of that. So I think I'm just going to throw this heat block away and call it a day. Heat sink's coming out just fine. So, and the heat break is fine. Do have one more size I can try. Nope. Just can't get it in there grippy enough. Nope, I quit. I ordered it from the Amazon. Oh no, not the three-headed monkeys. Oh yeah, that's a good cube. Yeah, we won't try the giant one. We will not try the giant one. At least I got a bunch of metal filing right here. So we'll put this in my box of things to work on later. We'll let this cube go for another, oh, I don't know, 10 minutes. That way at least I get some pretty decent height on it. Oh, rubber band on the bit? Man, I'll try it later. You guys don't have to suffer through my OSHA deregulation. 83 viewers just watch me do that, so. Oh, got to put my one piece of safety back in. Okay. Good, good. And where's my phone at? Here's my phone. People are messaging me. So once I get to a certain point, I'm gonna drill press. The Moon's model is MS17 HD. That is a 5. Yep, HD 5 P4100. You know what? For almost losing a thumb, I should have gotten more thumbs ups. Let's do our downward light shine. Oh yeah, those are good layers. Don't want to test the crash detection so much yet. I didn't even get the tension set correctly. I guess that's kind of loose. So what kind of questions do we have on this crazy thing? Because now I can pay attention to the chat. Ooh. Sandwich indigestion. Shouldn't have put the salami on that sandwich. Just stuck with just the roast beef. Pretty good. All right, I'm going to end this one. So stop print. Yes, stop print. And take a look at it. Motor resonance is good. Layers are good. It's a good looking cube. Nope, I am printing in regular mode. All right, looks like I need to do, how's that belt? I'm going to loosen that belt just a touch. I'm starting to see a little bit of stuff I got to fix on here to make it better. Come here. Right. Okay. That's good. Double check that Bondtech gear alignment. That is good. A little less pressure on there. That's good. All right, let's print a benchy. Pop that off. Come here. Let's print that benchy. Print from SD card. Benchy. Good to go. Wow. Mr. This is a Zerabo carriage, Mr. Gustner. Yes, this is the best place to spend your New Year's. Definitely right here. So let's do some close-up photography of this, and I'll post it on the Facebook group. Good. And good. Get some infill photos. Get that bottom layer. Live Z could go down just a touch. You would, yeah, so it would be a factor of 6. So basically a factor of 3 times 2. Yeah. So you go to 830 and then you go to 1660. Show off that corner because corners matter. All right. And then we've got the same material above it. And this is that, and that's that. Let's line those up. Luckily, I put my seam in the same place. Okay. And lining that up as best as I can on camera. And I'm going to post this on the Facebook group. First cube. Prusa Community Forums. All right, live printing. Set that live Z just a touch lower. There we go. 21 thumbs. We're doing it. All right. This picture, this picture, this picture, this picture, this picture, and this picture. There we go. And posting. So we got some high reses in there. That looks exceptionally good. I'm going to need to definitely calibrate just a touch, I think. I think it's just over extruding just a touch. Let me take a light to it. Yeah, it's definitely over extruding just a touch. And looking at the corners, I would say linear advance needs to go, I think I have it set at stock. These are a little bit rounded. I'm going to go to like 35 instead of 30. Don't ask me how I know that. Shine that downward light on it. Since everyone always wants to see the downward light. No. Good. I'm super pleased with this. This turned out great. It's actually a lot smoother than I thought. Especially the tops of the layer lines. How do I know that? So the over extrusion I can tell is because the layers are just a little bit uneven. Just a hair. I mean, I think instead of 90, I'm at 0.95. I should probably be at 0.94, 0.93. And the corners have a little bubble on the end. So the linear advance, if you do it properly, the corner should be sharper. So I can tell here the corners are just slightly bowed out. I wish it was like a drawing I can do on the screen. Like if I move my finger, it'll just... YouTube, make that happen. YouTube, make that happen. So instead of being a nice 90-degree angle, the corners are just like a little bit pushed out. So a little bit more linear advance would sharpen up that corner. And that's the same thing I noticed with the other extruders. I had to go to about 35-ish, and that's the same on this one, and that's really going to sharpen it up a lot too. Yeah, that's super nice. Someone's commenting on my posts. Yeah, those layers look great on here. Now I'm looking at my phone and looking at the zoomed in photos. Yeah, it's pushed down instead of being bent at a right angle. So if you have too much linear advance, where the retraction is, so let's say you have that corner, because I retract at the corners, I use aligned. So if you have too much linear advance, you'll actually have a disconnect between the start of your retraction and the beginning of your retraction. The other corners will be fine. If you have too little linear advance, you'll get little bulges. So the little bulges are definitely going to be the biggest hindrance. And it's just, on these I printed at 0.35 or at 35, and they're a lot better. The corners are super sharp, and it's really hard to tell, like, unless even the picture, just, I guess this would be a pretty good photo to show. I need one of those. So Ethan, go to my YouTube and go to my description, and there should be a link in my description to this. It does come with the cable. So here's a motor cable. I don't know if it's long enough. I have no idea, but it's already pre-terminated. Oh, yeah, that's long enough. Yep, it is all good. Yep, red, black, red, green, blue, black, red, green, blue. That should be good. Yeah, there's little things you can tell once you start messing around with printing too much. You start noticing exactly what to fix versus... It's the same thing when, what was... Like, as a photographer, you look at a photo, and you can tell exactly what you did wrong, and then somebody else looks at it, and they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Sweet, RJ Make. I'm glad that firmware is working good for you, too. Yeah, it's got both, yeah. So this is board side is terminated and motor side is terminated. So It isn't a standard Molex. This is just, or this doesn't have the crimp on it. Hey Olaf, we're back and it's printing, and I posted test pictures of my cube, and the cube looks nice. So now I'm printing a Benchy at 0.25 millimeters, and I printed this cube at 0.25. Let me find the link. I think I have it still up. Nope, I don't have it still up, but I have Repetier server still up. I can look through my history though. Let's see, reverse bone right there. This is the one I printed, so I can continue to use. Yeah, so Josh, so Vertigo 235 is Josh. He's one of the it's one of the other mods on the group, and also the originator of the Discord group. So both cubes are using a BMG extruder with the same motor setup. The only difference is the new one, the one that's tiny. This one is at 0.25 millimeter layer height because I wanted to get it done quickly. And this one's at 0.2. And there is more mohair on this one. There's less mohair on this one. And the uneven extrusion is better on the BMG one. There's still some uneven extrusion. I think that one is the filament. This is like plus minus, I would say plus minus 0.07. Based on my measurements on it. It's a little bit on the high side. And then my linear advances definitely needs to be changed because my corners are puffy. And the corners are way better on this one because I use the better linear advance on it. So overall, everything's better. And the motor resonance is great. There isn't any additional motor resonance. And it's shiny smooth. Shiny. DuPont connector for the win. Topher, there is a Mark 2.5 version of the 7x7. Stephen Armstrong made a he ported it over to the Mark 2.5, and I have been running it on my Mark 2.5 Bear, and it works. So I will make a modified version firmware or a profile for Slicer Prusa Edition specifically for this extruder. It won't take me very long because I know exactly what I need to change. I'll actually work on it right now. The Moons motor I mentioned does not come with the kit. The kit comes with a Bondtech extruder, which is it's a good extruder, but I printed these test cubes with that material and that motor. And depending on what motor you use, you'll get different artifacting. So I wanted to make sure that we kept the motors the same. But yeah, so far, awesome. We're doing great. And this Benchy is looking benchified. Now, mind you, this is at 0.25 millimeters, not the best Benchy layer heights, because it's gonna cover up some of the hard to print details, like little text in the back and stuff. Text in the back would probably just be some lines. And I also probably got to work. Is there anything else I got to work on? Infill looks so good. Maybe I'm under extruded. I can't tell. I swear it's over extruded. Yeah, maybe it's good. Who knows? I'll run some test prints and I'll get a better thing. I just want to see this Benchy come out. I believe the order is different on the Bondtech one, but I can test that for sure because I have this thing terminated now correctly. And it won't take me, I can just pop this off and pop it on here since it's got a quick disconnect. Correct. It is a 17HS2100 blah 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 blah. This one was made on 11/9/2018. So says the little tag on it. It's very smooth. There's a lot of things to look for in motors. One is exactly how smooth it is. I bought some from Amazon that were pretty cheap, but Stepper Online actually makes some really nice motors. I don't know if this is a 1 amp motor. Is this a 1 amp or a 1.4? Because a lot of these, all-purpose motors are typically 1.4 amp, but it should work just fine. It is a 23 millimeter, so plenty of torque for the Bondtech, since we're tripling the torque in the long run. Oh, excuse me. That indigestion. Let's see under there. Oh yeah. It's definitely trying to print that text back there. Oh, it's only a 0.7 amp. That's different. It's definitely a different size. Not used to that little of... So at 0.7 amps, it's 18.4 ounces per inch, which I'm not used to since I'm a Newton centimeters kind of guy. Give me Newton meters. Stop giving me these imperial numbers. Give me that metric. That's what I always say. Especially when I'm talking to my friends and I'm like, you're 140 centimeters tall. That was really good when I watched Super Troopers 2 yesterday, and the Canadian Mounties were like, hey, you're like 140 centimeters tall and 14 kilograms, or yeah, of weight. Give me Newton meters and give me depth. Yeah, it most of the motors, so 13, yeah, which is funny. So the E3D slimline 0.9 degree motor is like 12 Newton centimeters at 1.4 amps. So, well, Newton centimeters is just is just you add you multiply by 100 of Newton meters. So, so I'm just used to reading that. Every time I go onto a website, I'm used to seeing Newton centimeters or Newton meters, and then every once in a while you get that ounce per inch, and then sometimes they'll give you pounds per inch, and I'm just like, come on, pick one. Just give me one, something that I can easily remember. Easy to remember, because trust me, I can't remember names. So remembering these torque ratios, these torque numbers, plus multiplying those solid numbers by 3 makes more sense to me. Itchy beard. I guess that's the soul patch on my beard. I should just grow the soul patch really long and then braid it. That'd be super cool. Yep, still printing. It definitely can't spell benchy at 0.25 millimeters. Go back to this Facebook thing, see what's going on here. Weird. Spec says 13. Header says 25. Yeah, it's not even that glorious. Those legit beard contests are insane. There's some long beards that end up in that, and they can do cool shapes. Yep, that's a benchy. You know what? Even at 0.25 millimeters, I can read that benchy sign back there. So that's pretty crazy. I'm going to slice some higher resolution stuff here. So let's go back to this one. We'll modify it to change to 0.2 millimeters. Perimeters 3. Infill. Go back to our normal 10 on regular prints. Cooling, that's going to be a permanent change to cooling. You stay there, cooling. Voila. And slice now. Export. Oh, still slicing. Export. Version 2 of that test. Save. Gotta do my cute octo. Where are you, cute octo? There we go. Files, cute octo. Gonna get all the test printing done today. And slice. Export. BMG test. Save. And then I gotta find something I want to print at a finer layer height. Any suggestions? That moon's is 20 something millimeters. See if I can do this while it's moving. Pretty close. Yeah, 25. So that's a 25 from the moons in 1.8. For 0.9, I don't know what moons offers in a pancake. The LDO will have one, and I have it in a box. Right there. There's an LDO one. Yeah, I would love to print the Joker from Wexter. Wexter. From Veteran. So, Ethan, how do I feel about the 602 extrusion issue? So, the typical 602, if people don't know, so the original Prusa extruder, if you didn't assemble the extruder correctly, and there was a lot of leeway to make the extruder pretty well out of true, you'd get almost a ripply skin, a very ripply layer line. This doesn't have that. It doesn't have the ripple. There's definitely a hint of mohair and a hint of something else that I think might be down to either a issue with the I'm trying to find a word for it, for the extrusion multiplier, or the combination of that with a linear advance. So that really clean up the edges. I mean, it's silky smooth. If it wants to, it's focusing on my face, but I mean, it's silky smooth. So, and the layer lines are nice. The layer lines are nice and tight, and they're not undulating. There's just like a hint of mohair in there, and I think I can run linearity correction and maybe even do that on it. Even compared to the previous one, the community one, it's way, way better than that one. This one has a long way to go. Yeah, I saw that he just posted the new one, so I have a tester one down here, and that's going to go on here after I'll probably print a whole bunch of things just to see how it does, and then I'll print some things for fun, and then I'll tear it down and see how hard the teardown is, which doesn't look too bad. It looks like I do need to remove the fans to change the hot end and some other things, but it pops right off the back plate, so a little bit harder to do some work on it. So overall, I think for extrusion issues, it's better. Hey, Hawk's in here. I feel the modification is worth it just for the fact the layers are laying down a lot nicer. I still got to figure out that slight mohair that I'm getting. And once I figure that out, we are golden, because there's none of that undulating nonsense. It is nice, straight layer lines, even when the lighting isn't perfectly on it. But then there's just a little bit of this zigzaggy. So I might try to do a linearity correction. I know there's some guys on Discord working on making some better magic for that. Ooh, wait, I need to go back and reslice those things because I need to change. So filament settings, advanced, custom G code. And we need to change linear advance to 35. We'll do 36. I like those even numbers. And print settings. We're going to change the extrusion multiplier. Oh, we're back to filament here. Extrusion multiplier. Go to this right there. Slice. Export G code. Boom. Replace. And then we'll do a finer benchy. We'll see if I can make the best benchy I can print. I will be out of silver filament by then, so I'll have to pick a different filament color. But delete all and drop a benchy on there. Okay, print settings. Let's change the layer height to 0.1. Yeah, 0.1. We'll do 0.1 layer heights. And good. You do the solid tops need to go to 8. Bottom will go to 4. Infill will stay the same. Speeds will stay the same. That will stay the same. Slice now. How was my Christmas? It was Christmassy. Spent time with the family, had yummy food. For New Year's, I am doing what I always do, which is play games with friends, so board games, video games, and basically spend time doing something besides printing. The printers are gonna run in the background printing, so I'm still printing a ton of Dungeons and Dragons terrain. I mean, I've printed buckets loads of it. I'm finishing up some. Looks like hallways. I'm printing hallways right now, which I only have like 5 of. So I'll have 8 more after this. Good looking benchy. Oh, thank you, Hawk. I hope you also had the best 2018 Christmas and the best 2019 year. I think it'll be a really good year for everybody. 2019 is looking pretty good. Yeah, that looks nice. What else am I going to do? Okay, I need to finish slicing that, export that benchy, and this will be my 3D benchy. Yep. place. So that'll be my high def benchy that'll print. So that'll be another good 3 hours and 21 minutes for a nice benchy. I'm still waiting for my Palette Plus to be fixed. So 2019 will be a good year. My Palette Plus will be working again. So that'll be a huge huge day. I do need to throw the MMU2 on here and test that out as well. That'll be a fun test. Yeah, the Palette 2 looks great. I've seen some really good results. I'm still not a fan of Canvas, but I think that will come around quick enough. I still need to... yeah, and there's still bugs with the other program. Whatever the other one is called. The one that's actually not online. The what was I going to say? The odd Chroma. Yes. Chroma, that's the name of the program. It has bugs with Slicer, so if I do supports with Slicer, it does some weirdness unless you set some very weird settings with supports. And someone found out that bug, so I need to go back and try that. That's on my list of things to try. And then when you do supports with Simplify 3D, it just chooses odd colors. Like it'll do a color change that's unnecessary for the layer for the support. So I have not been able to print too many things with supports. So the first layer calibration overrides. Germany, and no one, and you didn't take any of us? What is this nonsense? Anytime anyone takes a trip, they should invite everyone to go with them. That's just a rule. Everyone's invited to my studio today, if you can find it. Yeah, I mean, we're still fighting some firmware issues with the MMU2, so I mean, that's been out longer. I would have thought it would have been a little bit more refined, seeing as the Palette Plus was already pretty good. But the two things that I wanted them to really get better was Canvas and Chroma. And Canvas is definitely still in the alpha beta stage. But what's sad is Chroma is still in that. I still feel Chroma is a beta program. It's still, I guess if you use Cura, it works better. But it's still kind of buggy. Still kind of buggy. So still going. We got another hour till this thing finishes. But I won't make you guys suffer through an hour of benchy printing. I'll let that finish on its own. Oh, beard hair. Look at that. No, it's not it's a work trip. Well, I mean, you can't complain. It's still a fun place to go. There's still good beer, good food. You can hang out with Sando. Sando from the Facebook group. He's in Germany. And Mark Everts. I think he's in Germany. Maybe he's in the UK. They do have a small team. I can definitely vouch for the small team because with my issues that I've had with the Palette Plus, which is basically doesn't work, it has like this heater error. So it'll maybe splice like 5 splices, then it's like issue 106, blah blah blah, doesn't work anymore. And which is bad, unfortunately. So basically, I can't use it. But they literally, I'll email them, and it took them. I think I waited like over a week, and I sent them a second email because I didn't respond back. And then their response back was like, "Oh, we didn't see another email," which it took them a few days to respond. And then it's been literally, send them an email, then they'll send me an email telling me what they want me to try, and I'll try it immediately. Like it'll be 15 minutes later, and I'll send them back a response, and then I don't get a response back till again the next day. So it's just a back and forth that it annoys me. Like that's that. The one thing I like about Prusa is like I can hop on chat and I can be like, "Hey, this thing's dead," and they'll make you try a few things, and then once you've tried a few things, they'll either tell you it's your fault or it's their fault, and if it's their fault, they'll send you a nice replacement part. So, yeah, and it is the holidays too. That's one of the things that with major releases, I, you know, companies love doing doing releases like right at like Black Friday and that time. Like, why would you want to do that? Release in the summertime when you have nothing else better to do. Dude, Randy, that'd be super sweet. Just a splicer box, which I think someone in the community could probably make one. I don't think a splicer box would be that hard to make. Hey, what's up, Oxgon? Yeah, timing sucks. I know Prusa does pretty well with timing. I know they wanted to release the SL1 to beta testers in December, and then release in January, which January is definitely a lot better than, promising a Christmas release on something. The a lot of video game systems and video games like to come out the holidays, and it's just like, you're really going to put your employees on blast all holiday to fix stuff? Because I would hate to be, at Prusa right now. Well, I don't say they're good with timing. What I mean is they're really good at making sure that it's not during a major holiday that they're releasing stuff. So, yeah. It's probably good that they don't promise Christmas releases, because probably like the one time that they do get a Christmas release, and then you're all like, what am I supposed to do with this? People are messaging me for work stuff. Someone said evil. Awesome. Looks like Zerabo got those new motors. So we do have those new LDO motors in Germany now at Zerabo, and they are D-shaft, so good to go. 20 emails. Look at all those subscriptions. You crazy humans, and you're subscribing. Thank you so much. Got some comments on things, subscriptions, a LinkedIn invite, because I totally need LinkedIn in my life. I will have another fun mod video I picked up. They finally came in. Wherever they are, they're somewhere on this desk. Those TMC 2208s came in finally. So my rocks and 2208s. Yeah, stop trying to pronounce things to Siri. I've learned that the only way to get any of those voice to text to work is to enunciate. It doesn't understand my mumbling. Like, I typically mumble a little bit. I'm a little bit better, slightly better when I talk online, because I talk a little bit louder than I do in real life. So it helps with not saying things all mumbly. Sweet, Mike. I'm waiting to see more and more come into the world. So I have a couple of boards I'm going to do. So I'm doing a custom printer. It's just going to be it's going to basically be a big CR10S Pro. Well, it'll probably be about the same size, but instead of what they used, I'm going to basically upgrade it and it'll most definitely be direct drive versus Bowden, and a few other things, but it's going to run a V-slot. It's going to have a lot sturdier frame, but it's going to have the rearm board. So Chris from Chris's Basement, he showed that rearm board, and he showed how easy it was to make it do things. So I decided I was going to get a rearm board, and I was going to make a nicer CR10 with direct drive. And the 2208 is the driver I want because there's no calibration. It just auto calibrates. And I won't use stall guard or any of that. I'm just going to use the silent stepping. And it has Stealth Chop 2, which is much better. You'll get far less MOR. You'll get a lot better print quality. The motors will run cooler. But I'm also throwing them on my taller Prusa bear that I'm making. So my big pink bear that I'm making, the 250Z height pink bear, that one's going to run a Antonio's board that changes the X and Y motors to other steppers, and I'm going to put 2208s in there. So I have 6 2208s sitting in a bin there. Correct. So Rick, that man right there, responded correctly. So 3-to-1. The biggest benefit definitely is going to be a much lighter extruder, so less ringing, less ghosting. Definitely in the X-axis. It shouldn't help you in the Y-axis at all. But the Y-axis is so flat and big, you really don't get as much ghosting unless you go really fast on there. The 3-to-1 gearing is going to give you much more precision when you're printing, especially at lower layer heights. It helps all layer heights, but more so the lower and lower you go when you print those layer heights. The way better cooling. So Greg from Bear helped design the airflow channels and everything for the extruder. So it has the most optimal print cooling, or part cooling, printer cooling, the hot end cooling. So that way you get less jams, less clogs, and all that fun stuff. It's all printed SLS. It runs a lighter motor. Has all the same bits, and it works on all the different mods. So whether you want to go Zerabo, Bear, or stock Prusa, this will fit on it. All you do is put the correct carriage on the back. Yes, I'll be running rearm with Marlin 2.0. So I really like. I don't care that Marlin 2.0 is still in like major alpha. It looks really nice, and some of the things are really cool. But before I do all that, I'm going to try Duet on that $225 Delta I picked up. So Randy, E-steps, you don't even really need to do any manual calibration with E-steps. Bondtech's setup prevents the need for that. It's all based on the diameter of the gears, and because Bondtech uses 2 gears and that distance always stays the same versus a hob gear or whatever, E-steps are pretty accurate, and just multiply them by 3. But again, this is the Prusa runs 32 micro stepping, so a little bit different, but typically 417 or 415 E-steps for a Bondtech 3-to-1. So it's pretty accurate. It would be nice that if there were auto E-step calibration, like it knows that 100 millimeters of filament came out, and then it goes, only this much really did, and blah blah blah. It's something I feel could be programmed right into this, menu. And I think I've mentioned it before, but future. I picked up the Anycubic Castle Linear Plus. So $225 US, 150 pounds of that UK money. And linear rails, 300Z, 225 or 230 in the radius or the diameter of the plate. And it prints really, really well. Auto bed leveling, heated build plate, knockoff E3D V5 hot end, which I'll switch immediately to a V6 Lite. It prints really well, and once you update it, I guess, to Marlin 1.1.9, it's actually really good. It prints really well, and you could put Duet on it. So that is what I want to do. So we'll see. I might go Duet, because the Duet 3 is set to launch soon with much better drivers. That's what I'm really excited for. Is, again, one of the issues with 602, and a lot of people keep bringing it up, is the inconsistent extrusions, is that 2100 series drivers, the 2100, the 2130s. They are very particular what motor you put it on. So if the motor that you put on has high resistance or high inductance, you end up with, step curves that don't match up with the motor, and you get weird resonance issues. You get mohair. The 2208s have automatic calibration, and they work with more motors without having those issues. So, that's one of the downfalls of getting this silent stepping early, was the early silent stepper sticks were very particular. So they added more issues than they really took away. I mean, they made it quiet, but then they added all these other things that we have to worry about. Yes, Bondtech did create the G code. So all you do is load the G code of, if you have a Mark IIs, you load the Mark IIs G code, you run it, and all it does is set the E steps for you, because again, they're pretty well set. You can go back in and calibrate them. I wouldn't. I would just run a single wall test cube and measure and find your average and change your extrusion multiplier, versus changing the M92 E steps calibration. And then if you have a Mark III, it has the one at 830 E steps. So they did a really good job making sure it was super simple to pop this thing in. And that is a nice looking benchy. But yeah, I also have a INC retro board there, so I'm going to mess with that. So I'm starting to venture away from my safe zone. My safe zone is hardware. Like, I like talking motors and 3-to-1 extrude, 3-to-1 gearing, or 5-to-2 whatever. Talking about gearing and talking about bearings and talking about build plates. Like, that's kind of my stuff, because it's things that have numbers, and something that I can you tell me this and what the difference is with that, it can make sense of it. You tell me things with firmware, and I'm like, so I'm jumping out of my comfort zone. I'm gonna start working with firmware and stuff like that. So, or at least force myself to. And we still got a good looking benchy going. I definitely should have changed the linear advance. But yeah, good looking benchy. All right. I'm not going to make you guys suffer through the finish of this benchy. So this is going to continue printing, and then I'm going to move this back over there. And then I'm going to print the higher res stuff with the changes that need to be made to make the print better. But once that finishes, I'll post some pictures of that on the forums as well. So Happy New Year's. And Happy New Year's Eve for the people who aren't. Hold on. Okay, I can talk again. So Happy New Year's Eve to those that are across the pond, because you guys should be hitting that midnight soon. And some of you have, Australia, New Zealand. Y'all crazy folk have already had your New Year's. Ooh. Someone is forking some things. That's good. But yeah, Happy New Year's Eve to everyone that's not having their New Year's yet. I will be enjoying it. I will not be doing that stuff. 2 more hours, man. Whew. Just looking, you better hurry up and go get your champagne and your cheese board. Oh yeah, South Africa. That's pretty close to that time zone. That's really far ahead of us. Us Americans always being a little bit behind. We still haven't even gotten to the metric system. But yeah, so stay tuned for more pictures. I'll post them And then eventually I'll do a much closer build video. I want to assemble and disassemble it a few times. That way I'm not fudding around. And then I'm going to do some adjustments too to make sure everything is lined up great and for some more printing fun. So stay tuned for that stuff on the forums. I'll post them on Twitter. I'll post it on the Facebook chat. So thank you again. Happy New Year's. Be safe out there. Remember, designated drivers are your friends. If not, just fall asleep on the floor or wherever you're at. It's fine. Even if it's the mall, just fine. You know, don't go driving while inebriated. So we will see you all next year. Thank you so much for sticking around this long. So see you all next year.